Tell us a little bit about yourself, John, so they get to know you.
Sure. So I'm an entrepreneur. I own a ready mix concrete company in rural Saskatchewan. We own um, we own two different concrete plants here, and it's a third generation family business. I'm a father to two and husband of one, and and yeah, I mean, I've got we homeschool. My wife does the majority of that. Before we started coaching together, the most common argument in my house with my wife and I is, why do you keep leaving everything on the counters? How come you've got all this stuff on my counters? I like things clean. I like things off the counters, and you just keep piling stuff and unorganized. And just thought, you know what, maybe it's time that we look at putting in better systems and changing things a little bit. There were rooms that I would walk into and I would just cringe and just go, I hate this room. I hate being in this room. It's messy, it's dirty, and it takes too long to clean up. And when I do get the motivation to clean it, I go through it. It takes me one full day, and 3 months later, it's back to where it was. So
Yeah.
I don't like living like this anymore. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where it kind of started, I guess, right?
Feeling words. How did it feel? You said a couple, but
Oh, heavy. Yeah, that's a feeling word. It was heavy. You walk in, like I said, you walk into a room and you've got all these things, and it's just stuff that you're not addressing. So every time you walk into it, there's this little bit of extra stress where you're just like, I don't like this, and it's uncomfortable, but I don't have the time to deal with it right now. And you honestly have no idea how much pressure you're putting on yourself by having all these things, right? That's really what it was for me, is just this constant heaviness. But we just had a shit ton of extra stuff, like just unbelievable amount of things put away in their places. And eventually you get to the point where you open up the proverbial junk drawer, and the things just come overflowing from it, right?
Yeah. I love that word, heavy. That's a really great way of describing it. And I think it encompasses a lot of emotions for a lot of people. And Jacqueline, too, she was feeling like she was giving, and not having enough time for herself, and drained.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like when you were a homeschool mom, and our little boy has epilepsy, it's well managed and stuff, but there's some complications that come with that. So we're constantly, for lack of a better word, everything becomes therapy when you have a boy with, or when you have a child with special needs. So you're constantly on the lookout for anything that could make those synapses gaps better in their day-to-day life. Everything's therapy, right? So for Jacqueline, yeah, she's constantly giving. We are thriving a lot better with the organization that we have now.
Oh, fantastic!
So,
and you're all
so it was just such a freeing experience.
yeah,
Really, really was. Yeah, the process is pretty incredible. Truly following this process and doing everything in your life that you immediately touch is very powerful. Very, very powerful. So anybody who's going through this right now, and you're experiencing this liberation, and you're feeling this momentum, like, don't stop. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And if you just do one or two little sections and then think, well, you know what, I'll do this on my own. I can tell you right now, I couldn't have done this on my own. I needed to follow the process. I needed to have a coach helping me through it, and I needed to get all the way to my end point in order to feel like how we are right now. Right? This was not easy, but it was incredibly rewarding. You guys, for sitting on the fence about this, if you're seeing the results, just wait till you've gone through the whole program. It is wonderful. It's worth the money.